Grundei.
Whoa, is this the real Meredith Grundei from the clip we just watched?
It is from that amazing 15-second clip. It's me, and it's you. Okay, so thank you for doing the Speakers Lounge. And for those who are just checking in right now, the Speakers Lounge is something I do every first Monday of the month at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. It's to bring visionary insights to you on how to be a better speaker. And today, I have a very special guest. It's Gary. Say hi, Gary.
Hi, Gary.
I happen to be married to Gary. And so I'm going to start off by asking a very important question. Are you ready for it? Because
I'm waiting. I'm listening.
For those of you who don't know, I'm in Prague right now. I posted about it today on the LinkedIn, and Gary is in New York. And
we miss you, by the way. We miss you a lot.
I know. I miss you a lot. But so sometimes I do most of the grocery shopping. And so I will put stuff into Instacart sometimes, especially if I'm traveling. And then I will help you meal plan.
How does this relate to public speaking?
Oh, it does.
I'm excited to see how this ties out.
It's all about stories. So I'm sharing a little bit of stories so people get to know us. And so just before I got on this call, I get this alert that something has been put into my Instacart shop, into my cart. And so I got online. I was like, I wonder what's put in my shopping cart. And so it was Cholula. Okay. Cholula. We use a lot of Cholula in our family. And then the second one was a spatula. So I'm really curious about the spatula. And I'm wondering if you can explain why we need a spatula.
We have 2 spatulas.
We have 4.
Well, okay. I don't know if the terminology is right. I'm humbly, vulnerably showing up here. There's the spatula that you use to like flip a burger that's like firm. And then there's the one that you would use to like scrape out a pan that's like soft.
Yeah, like a baking one.
Yeah. And is there another term for that? It's just called a baking spatula?
I don't know.
Well, we have 2 of those.
Put it in the comments. If you're watching and you know the answer, put it in the comments. Please
inform me, because I don't know. Okay. And we have 2 of them, and one of them's great. The other one, however, has gotten a crack in it, and it grows. It's unbelievable. It grows black mold.
Wait, what? Which one?
The green one.
Throw it out.
Toxic AF.
I didn't know that.
That's why we need the second one.
Okay, but here's what I'm going to say about that, which is I feel like we need to go to an actual store and buy it, because sometimes you buy those silicone spatulas.
Oh, I know, no.
And they taste like, then your food tastes like it, and it's just nasty. So like, I feel like, thank you for that. I don't want black mold.
No, and the Instacart is really just a shopping list, right? It's not necessarily that Instacart's the best place to get it.
No.
But it's the way you and I communicate when we're not live streaming to both of our audiences. So there we go.
I love it. Thank you for the explanation. I also got a couple free ones. They're just smaller, like in a grab bag when I went to a conference. It was a foodie conference. And those don't make your food taste like silly.
You're so fancy.
So fancy. Okay. So we're talking about audience engagement today, Gary. And the reason why I invited you, not because you're my husband, and I was like, oh God, I need a guest. Who could it be? I wonder if Gary will do it. But there was a specific reason, which is that you and I.
So honored.
Are you so honored? You and I have been facilitating now, going on year 2, Amazon New Voices. And we're about to go into our second cohort. So we have 3 cohorts this year. We finished the first cohort about a month and a half ago. And now we're about to next week start this week, our second cohort. And one thing that we get to do is manage a room of over sometimes 200 people. And this next cohort, I think, is going to have something like 295 people. So I thought it would be great to talk about what is it we do to keep those people engaged, because I feel like that's really important, is to not only help them learn something new, in this case, it's public speaking, but keep them engaged throughout, especially with that many people, so that they leave feeling like they learned something and they actually have action steps when they leave and then they come back. Also, you have your own community that you've been running for, I want to say 7 years now. Is that correct?
That is right.
Yeah. So you've been running your own online community, teaching songwriting, music production, and so forth. So let's start off because we did have a question in LinkedIn, which is, what is it that you do to keep the rooms engaged? You're working the magic in the background while I'm teaching what the curriculum is. What do you think the special sauce is for keeping the room moving and grooving? And what happens when things go quiet? How do we negotiate that?
It's good. Well, these are all good questions, and it is a delight to co-host those Amazon New Voices program with you, because you've developed an amazing curriculum, and the people who sign up are just really powerful individuals doing good work in the world. And they're committing. They're like willing to learn and do the change. Okay. Anyway, it's fun. There's a few things. The first thing I think is variety. Like, you've done a great job with the curriculum in terms of like having some breakout rooms to practice, having some moments where we get to like sit and do little reflective writing. Each of the participants does. You've got some nice, concise, and fun presentations that you do, sometimes with a slide deck, sometimes without in there. I play music to keep it fun. I have sound effects. I don't know if those are reading on Restream, but my sound on Zoom is all dialed in. So I've got music and I've got sound effects. And it's really fun because, like, who doesn't want to be entertained in some way, shape, or form, right? So if we can keep the banter going and keep a lot of variety in the structure, then an hour and a half passes like no time. It's like, doesn't that time just fly by every single time?
Every single time. Every single time we start, and I'm thinking we didn't plan enough, and
right.
Often we've planned way too much.
It's so hilarious. Yeah. So that's like the main thing I feel like is like planning well for this, and experience. Like, we've both had a lot of experience running these rooms. So you learn through trial and error. Like, I know for myself, like, I tend to not, like, when I'm doing small group cohorts, for example, like, they can get kind of intense, like with the emotions and vulnerability and things like that, talking about creativity. And I won't go more than, certainly won't do 90 minutes without a break, right? Won't go more than 75 without saying, all right, we're going to do a 3-minute bio break. Everybody stretch, do what you need. Like, that was just a thing I learned over time for me personally. That's not a rule that everybody needs to follow. But like, I noticed people would just kind of like sag, but yeah, keeping the variety going. But also, like, it's really nice that we both are watching out for that. And it's nice to have somebody on your team, honestly, if you can manage it. Like, with a room of 200 or 300, certainly you could afford to have somebody else helping you out. And if you're both looking out for that, then one person's keeping an eye on the time, one person's like watching the chat, the other person's taking the front and center main stage, and then the other person's trading off. So I do feel like, changing up the structure of things is the biggest part, but all these pieces contribute to it. Yeah.
Well, what I appreciate about it too, and so Catherine, I want to say hi. It's so good to see you in the chat, in the comments. I feel what's important is sometimes there's been occasions where I don't have somebody like you to be my right-hand person who is helping me out with the breakout rooms, or helping me with the deck, whatever it is. And I do feel that if it's especially a high stakes virtual meeting that you're holding, that to have that second person, I feel is really important. I also feel like you had mentioned, Gary, that we have found variety within the curriculum itself. I feel like that's also something really important to keep in mind. And what I like to say to people who are putting together their virtual presentations, if it's like 60 minutes, at least if you can, find 3 places where you can get your audience engaged and involved in the content. And you get to set the rules of engagement too, which is what we have definitely done, even with 300 people, and it's global. So not everyone has incredible connectivity. Some of them have to turn off their cameras, but for those who can leave them on, it makes that experience so much more rich and exciting. We're doing jazz hands, we're having fun. I'm getting people physical, even on Zoom. There's so much you can still do even on Zoom. We have a question here, which is how do you work to include introverts without having them feel uncomfortable or on the spot? This is a great question. That's something my team members often worry about in team events. Gary, do you want to talk into that first? Because I know you work with a lot of introverts.
Yeah, sure. I do think that structure really helps here. I'm also an introvert, and I do not feel immediate joy when I think of the word networking, as you can attest to, Meredith. Although I've gotten better at it. However, when there are networking events, I've been to a handful that are well structured and they have techniques that support the introvert. And so I've incorporated a lot of those things in. And for example, let's say on the first day of one of my classes, I want to put people in pairs and I want them to get to know each other a little bit. I'm going to structure it in such a way that there's 3 questions they have to ask the other person. And if conversation happens, like I try to choose questions that are interesting, invoking, like name the first thought that comes into your head when I say, what was a peak musical experience for you? Right? Mm-hmm. Either on the stage or in the audience. And so then, of course, you're just going to ask the question, find out the answer, be able to communicate that when you come back to the big room, like you've got a little job. But also, it's likely to involve conversation because now we have mutual interests. Who doesn't love music? They're going to ask me the same question, this kind of thing. And okay, the structure of the room is 10 minutes or 7 minutes, something like that. And you've got a job to do when you come back. So that's one thing. The other thing I think you do really well, Meredith, with all of this in terms of engagement, but also helps introverts, is there are options. There's the option to raise your hand and say, oh, I want to present. I would love some volunteers to share what you talked about in the small group or whatever it is. Or you often say, just post a word or 2 in the chat about how it went. And so that's a great way for introverts to interact and still feel like they're part of the conversation, but not having to get on stage and, deal with the butterflies and all that.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like,
what didn't I say, Mary?
Yeah, I think I love everything you just said. And, I teach improv too. I teach improv online in the practice room. And of course, that group is starting to get to know each other better. And when you start to build the trust, it's easier, even if you're an introvert, to share openly with people once you get to trust them. So I feel like that's something you do very well at the beginning of your cohorts and something that I've learned how to do really well. Also, just based off of the great teachers I've had in my life, and being a theater practitioner too, we can't build really good theater together unless we know, we understand, know each other and learn how to trust each other on the stage. And I've been in some amazing ensembles who've done that really well and ones that haven't done that so well. And so I understand how crucial it is to build that trust from the very beginning, right? Yeah. So what you just said about putting people into smaller rooms to answer the questions and being also really intentional and really clear about how much time they're going to be getting in each room, who's going to be the timekeeper if one is needed, being clear about the instructions. I think I've been in a lot of virtual rooms too, where the directions aren't very clear. So I'm not quite sure what I'm supposed to do in that virtual room. We have everyone copy and paste I even put them in the chat now. That's something that we do, that we've learned, is if you've put the instructions for what's going to happen in a breakout room on a slide, that's great. But the second they go into the breakout room, they don't have that slide anymore. Now they're all going off memory. And there's going to be the one person that feels the most comfortable in the room who's going to end up being the spokesperson for the entire time. So I always tell everyone, copy and paste the instructions that are in the chat right now. Bring them with you into your breakout room, right?
It's totally true.
All these little things.
Yeah, it's like taking care of the people helps build that trust, right? And another point is when there is a small or large group, it usually the airtime defaults to the person who loves speaking the most, right? Or who's the least afraid of it, or wants the attention, or whatever it is. And so sometimes it's like, okay, can we hear from somebody we haven't heard from today, right?
Yeah.
Making an opportunity for that. Or sometimes what I'll do is I'll in feedback sessions even, I'll this is with a small group, but I'll make sure that there's time for everybody to share if they want to, and that they always have the opportunity to pass, so that they feel like, oh yeah, if I don't have anything to add to this, I'm just going to say pass, and that is totally acceptable, right?
Yeah.
But then everybody gets a turn if they want a turn.
Well, I'm not comparing adults to children right now. I just want to be clear about that. But I do feel that we all have still a little bit of our inner child, and we all learned these ways of surviving, right? When we were younger, when it came to being called upon, or when it came to sharing. I know when I was a kid, I was terrified to share my thoughts or feelings or answer a question out loud. And there's an equality thing that starts to happen, right? Because there's always that person that is willing to share in the class. But I remember as a kid, I was like, oh, that person's shared already 5 times and I haven't shared yet because I'm the quiet, reserved one. And I'm hesitant to raise my hand. So I also feel like a skill that you're very good at is recognizing who already has spoken enough, and how can we be more inclusive of other people in that space. And also, I'm going to say too, because I work in a lot of very male dominated, so when a woman raises her hand and 4 men have already gone, I see you, like that is also important to gauge. So I would love for you to speak into that a little bit as well.
Yeah, 100%. And so much of what I think is helpful here is that I think you do well also is bringing creativity to the table for all of this,
Yeah.
right? I can ask for, in a room of 200, I can ask for who's willing to share, right? That's kind of the obvious prompt, right? Or I could ask who's afraid to share, but might be willing to anyway. That's a different prompt.
Yep.
I could ask who didn't speak in your small group, but might be willing to speak to the large group now. I could ask, is there a person with the last name starting letter M who's, like, you can get creative with what the prompts are,
Yeah, mine is this one. I did. I'm like, if you're getting sweating in the armpits, then it's your turn to raise your hand. Because that's 3/4 of the people I work with.
Yeah, 100%.
You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and it can be fun. And sometimes the content can feel really hard, or it can feel serious, but I feel that there can also be some lightness in the space, right? And
Yeah.
the lightness is what I feel provides the space for somebody who may not raise their hand to raise it.
Yeah, totally.
Right?
It doesn't hurt though to also have like a bike horn sound effect
It does not
nearby.
hurt at all.
It just like lightens the mood. Wake you up. Right?
And I feel like too, when you're so okay, I'm gonna pause for a second because I actually thought of a question I wanted to ask you because it's come up a few times, which is the hot seat. So the hot seat is something that happens in a lot of the mastermind groups, if you will. The hot seat can happen in some of these trainings that we provide. Can you talk to me what you've learned about the hot seat and what has worked and what do you feel hasn't worked so well? Because I know you've been doing those for over the last 7 years, and I'd just be really curious to hear your thoughts.
Yeah. Wow. I could say top of mind stuff, but I'd be curious if you like have a particular lens. Like the top of mind stuff is that the main benefit in my experience of a hot seat is that the person who's in the hot seat somehow organizes their time to get shit done prior to being in the hot seat. They somehow figured it out and they got productive. Like if I'm giving a one-on-one session with somebody, there's a whole list of excuses that might play one-on-one. But when you're like in a hot seat of a room, it doesn't play. So like just recognizing that deadline or that target date, however you want to call it, has already done most of the work. And you showed up, you're willing to show up. It's incredible. Like that is the biggest victory. I tend to run them very in a supportive manner. I invite the other, like in a small cohort situation, I ask or mastermind, ask the other people to actively listen. So the person in the hot seat, I have them ask one question, right? Not 10, but one question that they would like feedback on. Namely, like, is the song long enough? Boom, yes or no. Simple answer, simple question. Or it could be something like, it could be, would you play repeat? Or it could be something way open-ended, like, what would you improve? Right? Mm-hmm. That could be, but one question, whatever it is, that they're willing to receive feedback on. And I ask everybody else who's listening, I say, pay attention and notice 2 specific, honest, and positive things that you can share that are feedback for them. So something, like specific and honest that you like about the song. Wow, I love the way the drums kicked in verse 2, right? Boom, I got one. And don't make it up. Don't pretend you like something, right? That's why it's got to be honest, because a person can believe you. And then respond to the question. And at this point, I have a little timer that I run so that people don't run on and that there is a kind of a equity of time. And people you can go past the timer. It's not like a hard and fast rule, but if you're going past the timer, you know it. We all know it. We all know you're talking too long, right? You're talking longer than the allotted time, right?
Yeah.
And so that does a lot of the governance already. And then in the beginning, especially, I save like any really spicy constructive feedback for myself. And then as we go along, then people who want to offer constructive feedback, I just make sure there's consent, and we practice how to do that, which is like you describe what the nature of the feedback is. Like, oh, I have an idea for you about the bridge. Are you interested in hearing it? Right? And then the person can say yes or no. They almost always say yes, but now they're in the mindset, I'm ready to hear something that's a little more challenging. Or I have an opinion about verse 1. Are you interested in hearing it? I think, like this one didn't make me feel good, and but like if they say yes, they want to hear it, then they're willing to step into that feedback. In the beginning, I lead with that. So I demonstrate how to do that with folks, but yeah, like having a lot of structure and a little bit of practice. We usually do a practice round on me because I have a tough skin. I've been doing this for a while, right? I'm ready to have it be messy the first time, and then people can be like, oh shoot, I should have asked for permission before I gave you that idea. I just got excited, and then they learn, so it's a little bit of training. Yeah. Is that kind of what you were getting at, Meredith?
Yeah, I do. I feel like holding the space is really important. And I do feel like, especially the feedback loop, when you and I, what's similar is that we're both working with people who are in process. They're in the process of creating something. And so whether that be songwriting or whether that be presenting to an audience, they're in process. And so I do feel like that's incredibly important. We do that in the practice room too, because we have 1 week that's designated purely to practice, where people come, and I have them hold the space by, first of all, the person who's delivering their presentation, they get very clear. And I think this is what you said too, just in different words, maybe they get clear about what kind of feedback they're looking for. And then each person I give them only allotted minute to give the feedback. And we start with what's working. And then where are you curious? Like, where do you have questions? And so that's how we do the feedback loop in our group. So thank you for that. Because I do feel that is a part of the online experience. And I feel like this translates into in person as well, but holding that space and keeping people engaged online, I feel like that really contributes to that. So we have another one from Evie. If there was one thing you could have participants do or think or feel that would give them a better experience, what would that one thing be? Excellent question.
Whoa. Okay. Okay. So when I teach classes at Golden Lotus Studio, I, you and I met at Naropa University. So we would bow in and out of every class. And I do that same thing at Golden Lotus. And there are a lot of karate dojos where you like bow when you enter the space and you bow out. It's just like a little bit, just a tiny little ritual to say, oh, I'm entering a different endeavor. And the reason I do that is because I want the container of the class or the mastermind or whatever it is, our time together. I want that to be a container in which the participant views the time as purely for their growth and benefit, And so if I'm a participant and I enter into something and I have that mindset, like everything here is to help me, right? Nobody's trying to piss me off. Nobody's, like all this kind of stuff, right? And so if I get a little cranky about something, oh, that person went over their timer. They're talking a little longer. And that kind of bothers me the way they do that. Then there's an invitation. Oh, I'm in a container that's here. How could that actually be of benefit for me? Oh, I notice I'm impatient in this moment. I've been like really excited to get on to the next topic. Why don't I just take a deep breath and accept where we are right now? And yeah, this person really feels passionately about this topic. I understand that. I've been passionate too, and I've talked a little longer, right? So everything's here for my learning and my benefit. And so that's the mindset, I think, that really helps me always have a better experience when I'm taking a class, because sometimes I start to get into the lane of like, oh, the teacher should have had a cleaner curriculum for the first 2 weeks and blah, 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 because I think about these things. But really, that's not going to benefit me so much in the long game, right? Instead, it's just like, oh, well, what did the teacher want me to get out of this? Maybe actually there's another assignment I can invent for myself that would do that better. There's a way in which I can engage more.
Beautiful.
Those are my thoughts.
Yeah, I love that. Well, I was actually going to ask you, so this was perfect. I was going to ask you the question about ritual, because I do feel that when you're holding space, especially if it's an ongoing space and a training virtually, that the ritual is really important. And so just other examples of ritual, because you gave a great one of like bowing in and bowing out, just as this form of acknowledgement that we're coming into this space and learning together during this time. Yeah. For Amazon New Voices, we start off with an open-ended question as people are coming in the room. We do that every week. It goes on for 5 weeks. People put their answers in the chat. And I hope this isn't a spoiler alert if you're watching and you're about to enter this new cohort, but spoiler alert. And then we end with a one-word checkout about their experience from the day. And that's something that I do often in my groups. Hi, Tom Parkin. We miss you. Come to New York and say hi to us. For the practice room, I always have music playing as people are coming in. We also have music playing as people are coming in for Amazon New Voices. That sets a mood. It sets an energy, a feeling, if you will. And then there's little things that we'll do throughout that are ritualistic, like breathing exercises, for example, or dropping in. And then exiting again with that one word reflection, or maybe sometimes it's a one sentence reflection about what was learned or what you're going to do with the information that you learned and what are you going to do with it after the session. So I feel like those rituals are really important.
Totally. And they're cues for the nervous system. Like, again, they don't have to have any kind of sacred connotation or anything like that. Yeah. Like you talked about just putting this question in there, cues the nervous system. And I feel like I got that from Twyla Tharp's book, The Creative Habit. Like she talks about like how every creative has a ritual before they start to create. And like it can be as pedestrian as a dancer's working. I remember she gave this example, dancers working in an old studio where literally you have to walk the perimeter of the studio to turn on all the light switches in the studio. And she's like, that cues us in. This next hour and whatever, this next session, I'm going to be in the creative mode because you practice it.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Gary, So first, I want 2 questions answered. Are you ready? The first question is where can people find you besides in our apartment in New York City? I know that's where I can find you.
They can find me on Instacart, putting
On Instacart
spatulas
with
in for no good
spatulas.
reason.
Where can
If you join late, go watch the recording because it's fire. The top
It's
of it.
really good. It's really good.
You can find me at GaryGrundei.com, GRUNDEI, or you can find all of the online classes I teach at goldenlotusstudio.com
Beautiful.
and on all the socials too. Yeah.
And then the last question for you is, what is one takeaway you would like our audience to leave with today?
Well, the takeaway I'll say just as like we didn't talk about music at all, but of course I'm in music, and I would say that songwriting is your birthright. If you can talk, you can sing. If you can sing, you write a song. And the bandwidth of how music can live in our bodies, we've just been given a raw deal about that. So if you feel like you want to sing today, if you want to hum to yourself while you're washing the dishes, I really dare you to do it. Invite a little more music into your life as a participatory event.
Okay. So I have to follow up now with another question. I'm a really bad host. Why?
It changes your life. It's like it gets you in your body. It tunes you into your heart. It's an expression. It's literally music expresses things that words or movement or anything else really can't. Music is special. And if you dig into what music is in your life, I think you'd find that. How has music helped you already? I'll ask that as an open-ended question. What is music to you? And then whatever your answer is, that's why. That's why you'll feel it.
Oh, I love that. And I will add one additional thing, which is yes, and to all of that. And the humming, the music, whatever you can bring, that lowers your nervous system too. That gets you out of that helps that vagus nerve, that fight or flight response that we get into when we're feeling anxious or feeling the nerves get the best of us. Finding a moment to drop in, breathe, hum to yourself, sing, listen to your favorite tune. That is all going to help you regulate. So thank you, Gary
100%.
Grundei.
Am I allowed to ask a question to you or no?
I mean, all rules have been broken now, Gary. So yes.
Why do you keep stealing my hangers from my side of the closet?
Why?
Let's take this offline. Let's take that part off.
Why do I keep stealing your hangers?
Yeah.
I have more clothes than you.
I have clothes too.
But I have very limited closet space.
Do you think that when I wear a piece of clothing and the hanger's in there, that it's not going to come back when it's clean?
I feel like maybe we just need to buy more hangers.
Yeah. I'm so glad we worked this all out. Thanks to
in front of our
watching
community. You're so welcome. I am going to sign off now. Gary, I don't know where to end this thing. I don't see the end.
This is the end. It's probably in the upper right corner.
It is not in the same place it used to be.
Mine says leave.
Will you just leave then for me? Just go.
Well, what happens if I don't want you to leave you here alone?
I don't know. I can't find it. I seriously cannot find where to stop this recording.
Maybe scroll up in the.
I think I just need to go bye. I just need to say goodbye, click out of here, and then I'm going to call you later.
I have a few other things that I could, share with you, but anyway.
I'm a professional. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.